folks, this is my second video where I'm talking about the Spiel des Jahres winners. The Spiel des Jahres is an award that's given out by a panel of judges from Germany, Switzerland, and Austria. Each year they play tons of games, probably more than I do. Well, maybe not, but they play a lot. And they pick the game of the year. Now, for purposes of today's list, I'm going to be talking about what I think were the 10 worst choices that they made. Now, a couple caveats here. I'm not talking about the kids' game of the year or the Kenner Spiel game of the year. I almost always disagree with their pick there. And I'm not saying that these games are bad. Some of them I like, but I just think it was the wrong choice. Some of them I dislike, so I think it's the wrong choice. But there are games I dislike that I still think were the right choice for this award. And so just kind of a look here. So I'm going to tell you, this is the game that came out, and I'll also tell you the game I think that should have won that year. Are you ready? Number 10 is a new one, 2014, and that is Camel Up. Now, Camel Up is a fine game. I enjoy it very much. But this is one that kind of just blew me away because there were 3 games that were nominated for the Spiel des Jahres that year, and that was Camel Up and Splendor and Concept. Now, Concept might have been a bold choice for the committee because it's not even much of a game. It's more of an activity style, but it's still a pretty strong candidate, and it's one that people are still playing and having a lot of fun with today. But Splendor has been outselling Camel Up easily, and that's without winning the Spiel des Jahres. Splendor, while maybe not as cool looking as Camel Up, with the theme of camels riding on top of each other, is just one of those games that when you play it, it's like, wow, this should win the Spiel des Jahres. And was nominated, people were like, wow, it's going to win. And yet it did not. Again, this is not as much of a knock on Camel Up, but just that Splendor was that much more of a potent force, and I think what the Spiel des Jahres is, so I was kind of surprised. Number 9 is 2000, and that is Torres. Now, Torres is not a bad game. It's a game of action points and kind of an abstract strategic game. And interestingly enough, many of the games that they nominated this year, this was almost like a transplant year that the committee showed up because they're like, let's do heavy games. Because there were many games that they recommended on the recommendation list that were just really kind of heavy. To me, though, hands down, even though I know there are many people who like Torres and they like it a lot, Torres I don't see being played today, yet I still see one of the nominees was up against being played, and that's Citadels. Citadels is, again, one of those smash hits that just people play everywhere, and it's not without its problems. And as time has gone by, we're seeing other games starting to replace Citadels, but at the time, Citadels was a powerhouse, and to me, I think it was the right choice for the Spiel des Jahres. Number 8, 2006. That is Turn-in Taxis. Now, I understand that Turn-in Taxis would appeal to the committee here because, hey, it's about the German Postal Service, and that is, since the award is centered in Germany, well, that would just then make sense. The problem is that it went up against Blue Moon City. Now, Blue Moon City is a fantastic, easy to play, a lot going on game, and just a very solid winner. To me, it's the easy pick for the winner this year. And again, I think history has played out by showing that Turn-in Taxis has not done that well. Neither has Blue Moon City, but I think if it had won the Spiel, it might have done a little bit better. Number 7 is 2012, and that is Kingdom Builder. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Kingdom Builder. It's just draw a card, do what it says. And even though Kingdom Builder has its fans and they have made many copies of it and many different expansions, there's almost kind of a yay Kingdom Builder type thing, and some people really enjoy it. But it went up against a game called Vegas, which did not win and did not come to America. But every time I meet people who play Vegas, it's like, wow, it was so much fun. Vegas is that family fun game. See, I could put Kingdom Builder and teach my family the rules, and they'll be like, oh, okay. I could put out Vegas, and people are cheering and laughing and having a great time. And I think that's really the essence of this award, and I think it should have won. Number 6 in 1981 is Focus. Now, Focus is designed by the great Sid Saxon, and I think Focus is an excellent game. Maybe excellent is a strong word. I think it's fine. Now, realizing that this is back in 1981, so the pool of games is not so big, but what boggles my mind is that it went up against another Sid Saxon game, Can't Stop, which did not win. How often have you heard of Focus? How often have you heard of Can't Stop? Can't Stop is still being played. It was just reprinted a few years ago because there are people who still like the simple concept of rolling dice and when will you stop? In my case, apparently never. But it is a very interesting decision to me. Very obviously they picked the wrong game at that point in time, but hey. All right, number 5 from 1991 is Drunter and Drüber. I think it's Wacky West. I forget what the English name of that was. But essentially, this is a weird game from the same designer who did Klaus Teuber, who did the Catan. But it's about this West, and you're putting out buildings and covering up outhouses. It's a really wonky theme, and it just kind of landed like, and didn't do well at all. Now, I don't know much about the other nominees that came out this year. I do know that Formula D came out this year. Now, I don't know if that one hit Germany, but if it was in Germany at the time, then clear winner. Clear winner. Formula D, which now is Formula D, still being played today, still looked at as a classic, wonderful racing game. Most of you probably haven't even heard of the game I just talked about. Number 4 from 2005 is Niagara. Now, Niagara is a cool-looking game. It used the box. You flip the box over, you put boats on, there's a waterfall. It's like, wow, what a cool concept. And I'm almost thinking that the visual and the idea of flipping that box and falling off the waterfall wowed people, because I know it wowed me just thinking about it. But the actual gameplay is not that interesting. The actual gameplay is basically moving around a few things, and occasionally someone might fall over the waterfall. The game that I think should have won is That's Life. Yeah, you never heard of That's Life? Well, that's probably because, it didn't win the Spiel des Jahres and kind of faded out. But That's Life is like the answer to a roll and move game, a game where you roll and move pieces. This was a good one. If we do top 10 of roll and move, this is one that's easily on my list. It's a great game for families, offers some good choices and fun. Just a neat concept, and I think it should have won. And barring that, if that hadn't won, then give the award to No Thanks. Oh man, No Thanks, that card game. Now, small card games have a hard time winning the Spiel des Jahres award, although Hanabi did win. So if Hanabi can win, I think No Thanks should have won. Number 3, the one that everybody likes to yell about. I heard more yelling in this year, I think, than any other year, and that was Villa Paletti in 2002. This is a Jenga-style game where you build this structure and you're pulling pieces out, hopefully without it falling over. You have like this little hook piece and you pull them out. It's not a bad concept. It's not a bad game. There is no way on earth it's Game of the Year. Now, everyone yells because this was the year that Puerto Rico came out. Why didn't Puerto Rico win? Well, Puerto Rico is too complex for this award. It really is. It's a great game, but it just doesn't fit the Spiel des Jahres. For me, my pick in that year would be Transamerica. I don't even like Transamerica, but Transamerica is a solid, amazing train game that people were just playing and loving all over the place, and it would have been my pick for the winner that year. Number 2, Cafe International. Now, this is 1989. This is one of those games that sounds cool in concept. Ooh, there's people and they're moving from table to table. This one I don't think should be on the list because I just don't even think it's that good of a game. It's really kind of boring. Now, my problem with this list is what do I pick that should have won the award? So I'm going to go with Taboo, which is a party game. Yes, party games can and have won the Spiel des Jahres, and I think that's a solid game that could have made the list. All right, number 1, Keltis, or Lost Cities, the board game. This is 2008. And this is a year, and I have no proof of anything here, but I almost feel like, sometimes there's a movie or in the Oscars, you feel like they give an award to someone because they've snubbed that person so often in the past. I think that's what's happened here with Dr. Knizia. He had, obviously Blue Moon City, I said, should have won before, but he had many games come out. None of them ever won the Spiel des Jahres. I mean, he had a really good game come out, Ingenious, and it's like, oh, that's a really good shot at the Spiel des Jahres. Oh, it came out the same year as Ticket to Ride? Well, what do you do? And so I think at this, and they didn't give Lost Cities the award either. When that came out, I mean, it was nominated, but they didn't give it the award. And so I get to this point, it's like, yeah, let's give them the award. I really think that because the game itself is okay. It's still being played, I guess, by some people, but I would have picked Stone Age, which was a very big hit. Still coming out. They're coming out with My First Stone Age this year. Just a very big, solid hit. Now, obviously, the games on this list are my opinion. This one is certainly my opinion. There's going to be people who say, no, that was a great choice. And you might think some of these games are great. Again, I'm not saying that all these games are bad games. I'm just saying these are the 10 that I think should not have won the award and another game have. What do you think? Maybe you think Catan shouldn't have won the award. What are games that you think shouldn't have won in the year? And then tell me what you think should have won instead. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.